Hey guys, I've been sitting here brainstorming. Thought I'd share it with y'all. Um, Honestly, I have been sitting here and so many things going through my mind. I don't know if I'm getting downloads or what's going on. And what's ironic is I was sitting here, thinking all this scattered stuff, and this group that I'm in, Witchy Ways, where it's a but mainly a chat group. We just talk to each other at all hours of the day and night, whenever we choose to. Um, Sent me a link um, for a video about the star seeds and the Anunnaki, and in witchcraft we know about the Pleiadians, and and especially anyone, which or not, that's in astrology, I would think would know uh, about the Orion constellations and the Pleiadian constellation, and it's just such a vast amount of information. Um, that's why you have those that pretty much, should I say, specialize in astrology. As witches, we pretty much, most of us anyway, the older ones, because we have had more time to gain knowledge and study things than the younger ones. In time, they will too. We are constantly, not even necessarily as witches, as human beings, wanting knowledge. I cannot help the light, you guys. I'm sorry, but you know, okay, we've been through the depression thing before. And the reason I'm bringing this up is I'm still getting so many emails from witches, and even non, witches, people that do not identify as witches, that still, email me or message me on Facebook, and what have you, uh, about depression. You know, I am a true believer, and of course I would be, because I'm a witch. And one thing we are in control of is manipulations of energies and mind patterns and thought processes. And um, so, of course, I'm going to sit here and say mind over matter, basically. I do realize that um, there is a clinical depression. There is where you're, um, how do I put this in layman's terms? Where you're not firing correctly. You hear that term all the time, but that is true. Where you have too much or too little serotonin. I'm not going to go into all the physiological aspects of it, or the genealogy of it. Hey, John Doe, good to see you again. But if you're a witch and you're going through depression, you are not utilizing your abilities. Okay. Um, like I said, if you've tried everything in the world, and you can't seem to get your mind right, I'm just gonna straight out talk to you. I'm not gonna use all the big terminology and blah blah blah. I'll do my best not to. Um, First of all, you have to want to get over it. Some people tend to waller around in it for whatever reason. Maybe it's sympathy. Um, Maybe it's just some big damn act they're putting on to get their check every month. I honestly have seen people do that. Uh, and I happen to know them very well and know that there's not, a crazy Anyway, that's beside the point. Um, to live a normal, per se, I guess, whatever you want to consider normal, healthy life, it does start in your head, does it not? I mean, now, as I said, I am not talking about the clinical side of it. There are issues, conditions, diseases. I hate to use that word, but there are diseases of the brain that causes psychosis. That is, um, well, it's medical. It's not. It's nothing that you could treat on your own. Okay, this is where you have to determine or uh, see a psychologist, psychiatrist, to determine exactly what state per se that you're in. Um, I'm no doctor. I am in nursing, but I'm only when I speak to y'all about things, it's from my own perspective, from what knowledge I've gathered through my years of doing my own medical research and studying the um, things that I have witnessed, the jobs I've had, just accumulating different lessons from different paths. So when we're once again, when I'm speaking on this level right here, I'm not talking about clinical, nothing chemically that is causing your depression. Um, I'm not talking about schizophrenia. Those are conditions that definitely need to be controlled with medication, and you definitely need to be under the supervision of a physician. Okay. Depression doesn't necessarily mean that you have all, this these chemical imbalances. It could be a lot of women experience depression during menopause. We all know that from different levels, what have you. If none of these medical conditions apply to you, but you still can't get up off the couch, you don't have the want to, you feel stagnant, you're in a stasis, which I promise you I can relate to, especially here lately. I think, eh, from my perspective, in of my experience, just so many changes so fast. Um, I am one of those people that like things to stay the same in certain areas. And unfortunately, it just don't happen that way. But and that part I understand. But it's it's other things like I don't know. Trying so hard your whole life and working so hard, and you still don't you have your own home. Now you don't have your own home, or you can't get that job you want because you can't get that car. Your normal, everyday, mundane um, trials that humans go through. Responsible humans, anyway, the ones who are really trying. Um, I can honestly see to where you get tired of the shit. It's like it feels like every turn you make, you're hitting a brick wall. It feels like you're sitting there going, "Well, why bother? Why bother even going there? Because I've already done it 5 times, and this happens every time." I fully understand that. These are the depressions I'm talking about, where you just get to a point where you don't care anymore. Or you do care, you still got that little smidgen, you're really just waiting for somebody to come in there and tell you, "Hey, straighten up. It's coming. You're going to be okay." Giving you useful information. The only constant is change, metaphysics of Heraclitus, the weeping pool. Yeah. Yep. Which John Doe, you'll appreciate this. When I start feeling, this may sound crazy to you guys, but when I start feeling like that, and I don't have a choice but to sit around the house or read on days I'm not feeling good or mentally or physically, you don't have any money to go anywhere. Okay, you have a computer, you have access to an internet, get on it. Uh, that's what I do. I search through the web. I find topics that interest me, and since there's absolutely nothing else I can be doing at the time, I learn things. I constantly try to soak up knowledge and make use of the time that I think I'm not doing anything, and in reality, I am. If I'm studying, I'm learning, I'm doing something, right? Okay. Well, us witches would say, okay, well, something led you to that per se show that you found online, that documentary, um, maybe another witch or just another person that you um, relate to, and they're on a subject that is exactly what you were thinking. Now, how many times has that happened to y'all? Probably a lot, huh? And there's reasons for that. You still have to have the consciousness, even people that are depressed. Now, I mean, okay, I'll speak for me. I have laid in the bed, and my brain is literally going 1,000 miles an hour. It's not making any sense. I am thinking of so much so quickly that, that I just can't make it's a jumbled mess. Do not go gentle into that good night, old age should burn in me. And rave at close of day. Rage against the dying light. Yep. John, I love it when you come on here because you actually challenge my intelligence, and I like that. I'm a reader too. Um, but I'm telling you, it is mind over matter, okay? Please understand this. And believe it or not, you know how everybody's always telling you smile at someone, say hi, or tell a total stranger that you love her hair, say, "Oh, I love that hair color," or, compliment. You never know what that tiny little bit of effort that you put into that person may change their whole day, okay? Um, Same as saying anything horrible can completely be the final push that person needed to go over the edge. So it is so extremely important that you're careful what you say to people, how you react to people. Um, I'm not even going to go into all the reasons for that. I'm going to leave that to you intelligent people to get it figured out. Um, but search when you're in those states of depression. Search for things that make you happy, or at least bring you up a little bit. You come up a little bit of it at a time. Come out of it. You will come out of it. The abundance of chaotic thoughts can be combined with breathing exercises, combined with meditation. That's the only thing that helps me with that. Yeah. And two, those that those that believe, and I'm going. There goes my brain again, going too fast. In our chat room, there was a documentary posted that I watched, and it is about this woman or young girl actually that claims to be an Anunnaki hybrid. Okay. Normally, I'm very skeptical. Um, I'm open minded. I mean, come on, I'm a witch. Why wouldn't I be open minded? I can't very well, expect somebody to believe what I do and then I not believe that somebody else is capable of this or that, right? So, at first, I was really skeptical. I thought, okay, here's another person claiming to be an alien. Okay, but I watched it and I was extremely uh, pleased. I guess you could say. What word am I looking for? Um, I liked it. It made sense for whatever reason, and there did not seem to be anything fake about her. And I'm gonna, if I can figure out how to do it, y'all know I'm not all that computer literate. I'm going to try to put the link to the program in the comments. Those of you that are on my Facebook page, I posted it on my Facebook. And I very much recommend that you watch that. It is freaking awesome. She made a believer out of me, and I'm a skeptic in every shape, form, and fashion most of the time, especially when it comes to per se aliens. Um, and then I'll do a video on it, and hopefully I'll do it earlier in the day or another time to where people can come on and we can discuss it, because I'm very, very interested in what y'all have to say about it. Um, but as far as the depression thing goes, you remember we are in control of our minds, right? You cannot be an effective witch without having mind control. Okay. Not saying that we don't slip and not saying that we don't have issues on some days. And, diseases that eventually take our minds to where we can no longer function on that level. Um, you have to want to though, y'all. I'm telling y'all, when I'm saying this, I'm telling you from the experience I've been through for the last 2 years. Okay, and what I have thought, um, the I don't know how to put it. Um, the jumbled thoughts, the racing thoughts, your mind is physically trying to figure out how to help you, how to help the rest of your body. Okay, it knows that you're not in a good place. Um, Depression causes many, many different avenues to open up. It could cause you to overeat, which causes weight gain. Hello, cause you to undereat, anorexia, um, different health issues from malnutrition, um, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, many, many things that people use as the proverbial crutch to help them get through situations or deal with themselves. Normally, if if things are going on in your own mind that you can't fix, it drives you insane, right? So you try to numb that. Your own mind itself is telling you, stop it. Stop this addiction. It's killing us. It's killing you. Um, you can't lay in this bed all day and think you're going to get better. Get over this depression. Blah blah blah. Get help. Your your right brain, as I like to call it, is telling you these things to help you get up and move, but then somewhere else, whether it be the left brain or I don't know, is telling you why bother. You're having this internal conflict going on, and you can't function. Um, you know, I mean, people are smarter than that. Like with me, I'm not the smartest person on the earth, but I'm not the dumbest either. I mean, I know that sitting around bitching and not having good faith in my future, not caring, isn't helping me. Um, but as I said, most of us, when we get to that point, are looking for that one. It could be one word. It could be a movie that you watch. It could be the way a day feels when you walk out. It could be the way the air smells. We are being given a download. This is what I call downloading from a higher self or your higher power, whatever you want to call it. Um, you're receiving an energy boost. I guess I could put it that way, to continue on and to come up out of this funk. And then, whenever you get out of it and your life is so much better and you're smiling and you're happy, um, and you look back on that bout with depression, doesn't it look so dark? Doesn't it look dingy and horrible? And don't you say to yourself, oh, man, I'm glad I got out of that one, right? But it's okay. It can be when the Buddha was being tempted and taunted by the incarnation of evil when he said, nobody will remember you. Then Buddha said, the earth is my witness. Keanu Reeves did a movie about it. In my opinion, sorrow is beautiful. Yes, it can be, but when it lasts too long, it's destructive. You know, you 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 experience it and you get through it, as a it's an emotion. Um, People are just going to have to learn to train their minds better. You know, um, yeah, I don't have everything I want in this world. Trust me, I have lost so much, you guys. I'm not even going to go into it. Um, Major heavy things have happened in my time, from mentally to physically to sickness to heartbreaks, things that most people literally would not survive. And I take umbrage in that. It's like, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. Why was it put on me, just to see how I would react? Was it some damn experiment? Um, the body and the mind are very, very complex things. And I don't know that we'll ever have it figured out. I know we won't. We just won't ever. There's so much of our brains we don't use. Um, we don't even know how to use. We have not evolved to that point yet. We're still evolving. To uh, to 1 million years from now, I know the Earth probably won't be here, blah blah blah. But if it were, and our descendants um, look back, they're going to be looking at us like we do cavemen. You know, it's like, oh my gosh, you mean to tell me they got in these little contraptions and drove, steered them 1,000 miles. It took them 3 days to get somewhere, blah, blah, blah. To go through life without trauma is to fail to live. Our triumphs and failures go hand in hand. Yep, that's what I was pretty much getting at. Without destruction, there is no creation. Yeah, there is. You can't have one without the other. One creates the other. You can't have light without dark. It wouldn't be called light. It wouldn't be called dark if we didn't have light. Oh yeah, humans will eventually look back and be like, "What was wrong with 2020?" Yeah. Um, you're, you know, your mind can just go so many different ways. It is just so spectacular what it's capable of. Um, just all the little neurons. And, um, in that, I'll bring up one thing that was in that documentary that I watched. We're talking about how come we're not able to um, bend things or manipulate, or some people aren't. Um, and I wrote it down. It's called electromagnetic repulsion. It actually has a name for what I've pictured in my head. It's like a field around everything that is matter, everything that has atoms. It creates a field. Um, it's a magnetic field. So uh, it's protected. You can't physically move it mentally without moving those atoms out of the way first. Does that make sense? I'm not going to go into all of it. I don't know. Um, and I don't explain things well anyway. I mean, I do to the best of my ability, but I can see it in my head and I know what I want to say. But when it comes out of my mouth, it doesn't sound like something that would be understood well by another person listening. So when you learn to manipulate those atoms, move those atoms around, then you physically or, actually move something. See what I mean? It's all physics, and physics is very interesting, and it goes on forever and ever. But theoretical physics has proven that humans can change the behavior of subatomic particles. Well, and they do. I mean, you learn that in physical science, do you not? When you do an experiment about boiling water, you're manipulating those atoms with heat. So what you're seeing when that boiling water is all them atoms bouncing around there going, what the hell happened? We're burning up. A minute ago we were cool. We were still. Now we're bouncing around because you're mixing energies with those atoms. Heat, which is its own energy over here. This is why it can be detected with infrared. Or you can actually feel it. It's pretty interesting. So when what I'm getting at in this area of the conversation is, how come people don't believe that witches can manipulate energies? How do they not know that we haven't had that information per se download in our minds for thousands of years? Certain ones, hence why they were called wise women. They knew things other people didn't. Double slit experiment shows humans change the quantum location and movements of electrons by looking at them. Well, do we actually change them by looking, or does it change from our perspective? Because when your eyeball receives light, here we go. I always go back to, but it's true. When the light ball, when your eyeball receives light, it creates the prisms that you see, and they move around and they reflect back. What you're seeing is a reflection type thing. Is that the best way I know how to put it? It's how you're perceiving. Yeah. There are some people that even say they can see the tiny atoms floating through the air, which, I'm not going to tell anybody that they're wrong, because you never know. Yes, the behavior is actually mechanically altered when observed. Quantum mechanics rely almost entirely upon observation. Scientifically, our perception creates things. Yep. Yeah. That was my belief. You cannot see the atoms, but Who am I to tell somebody that? You know, it's like, no, you didn't see that. And what am I going to do? Sit there and argue with them? No. Just like some people say, no, you didn't, cause that to happen when I know I did. Or maybe I didn't, my goddess did, or we did it together, or whatever. I do believe that there definitely are a lot of things that human beings at this time are not capable of and may never be. I mean, they would just go as people. That's another, thing you hear all the time. Well, it goes against the laws of physics. That's correct. It does go against the law of physics. The law of physics as we know it. But as I said, physics is very interesting. I love them. I love physics. I like reading about it. I like studying, but it's very hard for me to explain. Uh, and I am definitely no expert. My theory is the humans that can't do paranormal things simply don't. Exactly. And I've said this on my channel so many times. People call us witches because they don't have another name for it. I don't even honestly remember if I ever knew where that word came from. I know it has a definition. It's a definition that mankind has given it. I don't see any history of the word except for the first person that called a woman or a person that. I don't know. But and like in this video, I really don't want to talk about it a whole lot on this video because I want to have one completely separate for to talk about that specific documentary. But even in witchcraft, we have learned, we know about the Anunnakis, we know about the Pleiadians, we know about the star seeds. Most witches believe that we do get our downloads, our energies, our um, certain gifts per se from these entities, from these um, outer sources. Um, I'm gonna have to say it because see, one thing will lead into the other, and I got to get off of it, or I'm gonna mess up my deal. But I'll just highlight on it. Who's to say that these beings, these so-called extraterrestrial beings, extraterrestrial beings are just not of this earth, unknown. We don't know. We don't know what they are. Um, who's to say that these aren't our gods and goddesses and are the left hand path's daemon and the fallen angels and um, time and space? Nobody understands it. There's no way we could possibly understand it. It's too vast. We barely understand our own universe, much less what other universes are out there possibly. And just the knowledge in itself, we wouldn't have any idea. We can't fathom probably what is truly out there and the other beings per se, or what we consider gods and goddesses that help us could be these same people that the normal per se people nowadays are so talking about, how they give them downloads of knowledge and help them. And you see these 2-year-olds that are freaking geniuses. Now, how does that happen? You know, um, my theory is the humans that, yeah. But yeah, I believe that if anybody works hard enough, um, they can acquire a lot of wisdom. Uh, some people just aren't inclined to do it. Some people are just here and, they blah, blah, blah through life and the mundane, go to work, have kids, die. Those like me and you, are sitting around, at 5:30 in the morning talking about quantum physics. What in the world, it's just amazing how you can really get in touch with your source. Everybody knows we have a source. Some will say it's Mother Earth. Some will say we're connected to our goddesses or our gods. And evidently in this documentary that I watched, there's many other races of uh, aliens per se, just like there's different races of human beings. You know, we're all from the same planet, and some of these aren't, from their own planets or what have you. They planet hop, evidently. It kind of made me feel like all the rest of the solar systems, plural, um, Earth was like a terrarium with their pets in it, doing experiments and what have you. It kind of makes you feel that way. Um, it's not what I'm saying is going on, but it did kind of make me feel that way, like I was some kind of a test subject. Could be, who knows? Socrates would be proud. The pursuit of wisdom is the greatest good. Yes, it is. And that's what I was saying. If you're bored, people get bored, research stuff. Find one thing that entertains you. Not saying you have to become an expert in it, but learn about it. Read on it, watch films on it, documentaries, what have you. Even though you're sitting still, you're still exercising your brain. You're still taking in knowledge, or you know, uh, knowledge or useless information or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's fascinating, and I love having those conversations. Um, when she was talking, I had a million similes and metaphors and comparisons of Christianity and religion and um, history, period, and how we're taught. It, you talk about downloads. I guess that would be the best way I know how to explain hundreds of all this information coming in so quick that I can't at that time get it out of my mouth fast enough. And that happens so often to me if y'all watch my videos, because I'll start on one thing and then all this, it's like a meteor shower in my head. All these, all right, say this, say that, and I can't say it fast enough. And end up sounding like a, raving lunatic, but it's all okay. But I am going to come on here and do another video about it, and it's going to be specifically about that, and hopefully I'll have some other people on that'll be able to chat with me. I hope you can be on there, John, because I really think that we could have a lot of interesting conversations. I really do. I think we think a lot alike. Um, which only brings forth the information that yes, witches can and do exist. Yes, we can manipulate energies because we've already mastered that technique. We've already we already know that these invisible things exist that nobody else sees, and we know how to use them. See what I'm saying? Uh, this is all witches have ever known. Now we evolve just like anybody else. Back in the day, you had this little woman, out with her herbs and making her salves, probably because she's too poor to go buy them at the market. And why buy them when she can grow them herself? I've already did videos on that, how it was back then. She was pretty much self-sufficient, and nobody else knew how to do it. So, they just thought that, she was of the devil. And of course, we know the history of the killing of so-called witches. I truly believe still that a lot of them killed were not witches at all, if any of them. It's just so sad. Totally innocent people lost their lives because of a mass panic. And I'm not getting on that either, because that just really pisses me off. You'll see my whole demeanor change when I talk about the witch trials. Yeah. Yeah, I get pretty fired up when it comes to that, and I want to go to all their graves and make sure they're burning in hell, everyone that had anything to do with it. I'm not a hateful person, but I would be to them. I hope their spirits are miserable. Truly do. They were horrible, horrible people. But yeah, I'm gonna get that up there. Sorry, John Doe. I do that all the time. I just disappear from the camera for a minute. Y'all have to know by now that I am the most relaxed, probably YouTuber there is. I just do whatever. I come on here, no makeup, and I don't care. It's about what I have to say. The witch trials were some nasty things on the level of burning the Library of Alexandria. Yeah. There's so much knowledge that was lost, and it wasn't sacrilege to me. Um, you know, and you can't tell me that even the Christian God wanted his servants to be ignorant. You just can't tell me that. I mean, why else? Why else would we have a brain? I mean, just this big lump of meat with, all this fantastic stuff in it, just sitting up in top of our heads for nothing. Make any sense? I mean, I don't know. But that documentary that I watched was truly believable to me. It actually made sense. I didn't see anything that I could be skeptic about the girl that was doing the interview. Honestly, she's a very young girl. She's only 22 years old. Very intelligent. Very, very intelligent. You can just tell. And some of the things that she had to say just made sense. And when she was talking, it was like there was other things, like I'd see something over here, this puzzle piece come together, and then this and it drift in and it'd snap in. I mean, I know that's a wild picture to put out there, but that's the only way I can describe it. It's like, okay, these puzzle pieces are starting to come together. And just about the time I think I had a picture, it just went away. Is that because we're programmed that way? We're not supposed to have that kind of knowledge? Is that what it's all about? Maybe our brains just aren't ready for it. As I said, mankind has been evolving since the caveman days. I mean, think of the cavemen. Cavemen, if they could see us today, would think we were aliens. They wouldn't have any idea how to relate to us because of the knowledge we have and the things that we do nowadays. Can you imagine if they just seen an automobile or an airplane? Whew. Yeah. And their brains weren't anywhere near developed as ours are now. So who's to say in the future of evolution that, you know, yeah. I mean, the possibilities are endless. The American Witch Trials, yeah, those guys are tripping balls on LSD. Yep, called ergot poisoning. Yeah, yeah. The new settlers in Salem. Yeah, the ergot got in their wheat. Cult is forbidden. It can mess with a person to know some things, cognito hazards, things that are damaging just by exactly. That's what I was saying. Are a lot of people just aren't equipped. Most people, most humans are not equipped yet for to sustain that sort of knowledge. You know, um, it would flip them out. It's like some people that see spirits. You know, they'll lose it. They think they've gone crazy, and it can cause them to go crazy. They're paranoid. They're what have you because it just freaked them out so bad. You know, they never in their wildest dreams thought anything like that could exist. But somebody that has already prepared themselves to see that spirit already knows that it's a possibility, they get over it. You know, it's like, yeah, they exist. I talked to one. Okay, so what? I don't know. I'm a witch and I've seen and talked to a lot of things. And every time it still baffles me. It still kind of startles me every time. I don't know why. But you're looking at somebody that's pretty jumpy. I mean, I can't even open a can of biscuits without it just completely unnerving me. Y'all ought to see me. I'll sit there and I'll go to pull on it and I have to hold it way out here and it takes me like 30 minutes. Yeah, I hate it. I hate doing that. Just the anticipation of that pop. I don't like it. My kids laugh at me. Or if somebody's around me, I'll make them open it for me. I won't do it. Or I just won't bake biscuits that morning because I don't want to open them. Isn't that weird? But yeah, um, we're gonna have this discussion about that video. I bet I want everybody to watch it first so that they'll have a clear uh, picture of what I'm trying to talk about and know. What do you think, John? I think I'm gonna now. I'm not good. I'm really not very good with computers. But what I'm going to try to do is go back over there and copy and paste it to put it at the bottom in the comments of this video. Cross my fingers. My ex-boyfriend, that's one thing, you know, he's a whiz with this kind of stuff, and he could have showed me or just done it in no time, and it may take me. I'll get it there one way or another so everybody can watch it. Because there's a lot of people that are my aren't are subscribers that aren't on my Facebook. Yeah, that's what I just said. That's the only way I would know how to do it or could possibly figure out how to do it. I'm not computer literate. I had a couple of other witches as my moderators. Of course, they never know when I'm coming on anymore, and I don't know what's happened to one of them. I don't. I'm gonna have to check on him. He's kind of. I don't know what he's doing nowadays, so I don't know. But they would teach me stuff, and I just didn't grow up in a computer age. Wasn't no such thing when I was little. Now, when I was in my late adolescence, like 18, 19, I think some of the businesses started coming out with computers, like the hospitals um, that people actually worked on and stuff. But they weren't as predominant as they are now, and they were big. There was no laptops, they're before cell phones. I'm a 21st century digital person, even colleges. Yeah, yeah. And I remember my daughter, and this was a very long time ago in Texas, which is where I was born and raised, and my family. Uh, the schools started, they sent out letters telling everybody, the parents, that they were going to have to purchase these laptops, which, uh, computers to me had just come out. I mean, I was not a computer person. I didn't work on computers, nothing on computers. Um, I was in nursing. At that time, I was a nurse's aide, and uh, we did our documentation, by hand. Uh, but we got these notices saying that all the parents were going to have to purchase these little laptops, they were calling them, and that's what they are now. That these kids carried instead of school books. I hate the new fangled techno gizmos. Pen and paper has the most power. That's true. What bothers me, John, about that is everybody puts too much faith into a machine. Um, Granted, it's a wonderful, safe way to store and maintain information, uh, until it's not. It runs on electricity. You know what I'm saying? It's not infallible. And everybody puts all their information into one thing, or per se on one disk, and pretty much putting all their eggs in one basket. And what's going to happen one day when there's no more electricity, when we don't even use electricity anymore, or it happens that we don't? And the way mankind is going, it's going to destroy itself. It's going to fall in on itself, because these ignorant ass people in charge of these countries are going to destroy it with all these weapons and nuclear wars. And it's just a lot of knowledge, and it's going to get lost. So you're right, write it down. This is why, witches, with our book of shadows, um, that book of shadows can contain anything. It can contain the witch's thoughts. It could contain history of what's going on at that moment in time in the world. It could contain her own spells, whatever she wants to put in that book of shadows. That's her prerogative. And say, they come across those after hundreds of years after a nuclear blast. This is where I disagree. There are too many gods interested in humanity to let us annihilate ourselves. We will live amongst the stars. Well, yeah, that's true. But I'm talking as on this earth. I'm sure, well, you know me. Yeah, we're going to go somewhere. But what about the ones coming up behind us that are going to need this knowledge, whether it be just for an FYI, something they want to study, they're interested in, as a side gig, something that could help them, something that could save their own species, whatever. You know, there's a reason history repeats itself. People keep making the same damn dumb mistakes. Yeah, and to me, this is a stopping point. This is one certain level of consciousness. The witches or the seers or other people with gifts, should I call them, are just of a different consciousness. And she even, in this video, talked about, well, she didn't come out and call it the chakras, but that's what she was referring to. Yes, true. That's what she was referring to, is your chakras, learning how to be still, how to manipulate, how to heal yourself. which we've heard of for thousands of years. Heal yourself. Um, call it psychosomatics, whatever you want to call it. If it works, it works. You know, the power of believing is your number one objective. If you don't believe you can do it, you're not going to be able to do it. This is what I teach them, my upcoming witches. The main thing of a spell is intention, and you have to believe in that intention. You have to put it out there and never doubt it. So I very much believe, of course, that we can heal ourselves. Let me tell you, I'm living proof of that. A couple of years ago, if you go back on my videos, I was a very sick person. I'm still not 100%, but wow, I've come a long ways between a heart attack that should have killed me and did kill me. If it hadn't have been for technology that we have nowadays, I wouldn't be here talking to you. Um, but in my last visits, they went in, they did the heart scan, the ultrasound, every single thing. She checked every inch of my heart, and you know what? She says it's hard to believe you even had that bad of a heart attack. You know, you can see the scar tissue where the heart attack was, and you will always be able to see that. But it's just amazing how I pretty much have a perfect heart, except for that. Um, that's just one instance of how lucky I have honestly been. I could go on of things that would have killed most people that I have survived. Um, the main problem with me is I'm a constant thinker. I'm a constant. What do I do now? How do I make the most of this amount of time? And if I'm not doing something productive, if I'm not accomplishing anything, I feel useless. I feel out of sorts, I guess you could say. I am just that type of person. That's why even when I'm just sitting around here, which I don't have a whole lot of choice right now, but I'm always on this computer. I'm always trying to learn something and challenge myself. Even an old brain like mine, the more you exercise it and work with it, the less trouble you're going to have out of it. Me being in nursing, I know all about Alzheimer's and dementia. And one thing that we teach our residents and our patients that suffer from this, or maybe showing signs of possible dementia, is we give them word books, puzzle books to do, to something to exercise their brain. Industriousness is admirable. I wish humans were more like ants, working together for the greater good always. I do too, John. In a perfect world, that would be what made the perfect world. Unfortunately, as well as I do, we have all these other people that want to be the boss. Their way is the only way. Do it this way or it's not going to get done, and blah, blah, blah. So there's always going to be conflict. Since the very second this world was created and any living, breathing thing was put on it, there's been conflict, whether it be for power or just chasing each other down for a meal, whatever. Unfortunately, it's just something that's going to go on forever. And it's sad because you're right. We could all make this existence on this earth a lot better. if we would just come to some sort of mutual agreement. It's like, okay, yeah, I don't believe the way you believe, whatever. It doesn't mean, that I want to kill you. Um, all the wars and brutal killings that we've had over the history of the world over religion. Really? Do you really think that your gods condoned that? Yeah. And the Christians, their commandments, thou shalt not kill. It doesn't say thou shalt not kill unless it's in my name. It says thou shalt not kill. Yeah. So that's a whole nother story subject. But I've always heard that the earth, that the existence we're in at this moment is a learning process, and that when you leave this plane and you go back to, per se, your planet, your star, that you have a choice to come back or not, to be reincarnated. A lot of people believe in reincarnation. Doesn't that scare you though? It when I think of having to come back down here again, it really terrifies me. You see, in this world, why would anybody want to come back to it? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Why would anybody want to come back? The only thing is, you don't know that you've already been here. We have deja vu. Um, yeah, there's a lot of theory where that comes from. A lot of it stems from reincarnation or the thought of reincarnation. Um, I don't know. The possibilities are endless, man. You never know. But going back to the depression part, um, there's a lot of ways you can get, and first you've got to get up off, and I don't mean just by physically sitting down or your physical self. I'm talking about your mental self. Get off the couch. Um, I don't know. Some people dye their hair. Women, do different things. Men do different things. It seems that when you change your appearance, you feel like a different person, right? You feel um, you're not in the same mundane body. You're not the same person, what have you, right? All memories belong to the collective consciousness. Even if we do not remember, God will always recognize her. Exactly. Yeah. Um, that's what I'm saying. There. Okay. This is my idea of the reincarnation thing and why we don't remember, but some people are given little tiny hints, like memories, like deja vu's, like feelings, like smells. Um, you know what I'm trying to say? They're like memories that are just tiny, tiny little hints of a memory that all of a sudden are there and then they're gone. We could not possibly come down again and again and again, knowing and remembering all that we did before. It would be too much. In this form, in this physical form, in this human brain, in this collective space that we call a body, our meat sack, we could not contain all that knowledge and it not make us insane. Do you see what I'm getting at? This is why we don't remember being here before. If we are that way, if that is one thing that happens with us, reincarnation, This is why we don't remember every single thing about our former life or lives. Because if you did, then it would create feeling, right? Then you would miss that mom in that life that you love so much, or you'd miss that brother or sister that you had in that life, or that pet you had. You'd remember all that. You wouldn't be able to focus on who you are now. You'd be thinking about what happened with them, right? So all that has to be erased. You have to kind of start with a clean slate. If that is the case, very well could be. I don't know. I have my ideas, but I mean, I'm not God. You know, uh, the God as a collective. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I wish I did. I don't think any human being. It's not meant for us to know that. That's knowledge that we just don't need right now. It won't do us any good in the purpose, the reasons that we're here at this moment. You know what I mean? Well, guys, I've been on here for over an hour, and I could just talk about this forever, though. And John, I really enjoy talking with you because you think in and about the same way I do. I don't think many people know what happens after death. Nobody has come back after final death. Um, well, it depends on what you consider coming back. Not in this form. Magnus, the Daughter of the Crown. Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, we can save that for another time if you want, John, or we can talk about it. I don't really have anything to do. Um, except for all the damn noise. So, when you say nobody's come back after death, what about the ones that claim the near-death experiences? That's near death, though, right? But they were actually clinically dead and came back. I mean, I a DMT trip. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, clinical death, you know. I've known of people that honestly have known of people that were pronounced dead, no heartbeat, no brain activity, nothing going on. And it's just a good thing that the mortician left them out because they were going to be first on the list of autopsies the next morning. And when the mortician came in there, this person was up walking around very distraught. Didn't even know how they got there. The spirit molecule DMT occurs in all living things. Yeah. I'm holding this up because my person that I stay with is up moving around. And resurrection is a thing. Okay, but to be resurrected, you have to be dead, right? You have to be uh, the other word for it. Yeah, and it still is. So the only difference is that our medical field has gotten smarter. You know, our medical field has gotten smarter as far as when people were in comas hundreds of years ago, um, where the heartbeat got so few and far in between. There's a word for it. I can't think of it right now. Or someone in a coma, even though people, and we didn't have the technology, the EKG machines, ECGs. We didn't have all that technology to test to see if there were brain waves, active brain waves. So the only thing they had to go by was the pulse. Well, there is conditions where your pulse will be what you get 1 beat per minute. That usually is, on the brink of death, if not. That's scary. We used to bury people. Yeah, and if you've watched my other videos, I did one on the graveyard shift and why it's called that. And it is because they buried a lot of people that were still alive. Um, People that were in comas, that's what I was using that for. They thought they were dead, so they buried them. Well, all of a sudden they wake up, and once your vampire stories, that's where a lot of them came about, because people were digging themselves out of their own graves. Back then, they mainly used pine boxes, which aren't that hard to break through if you could figure out which way was up. Some of them made it out, some of them didn't. You can tell by the scratch marks on the coffin. When they actually unearthed people, they could see where that person was still alive when they were buried because of the claw marks on the inside of the coffin. And if you think about it, when you're buried, you're out of it, and you wake up and you're in total darkness, and you go to feeling around you and you're just in a box. Well, first of all, panic's going to set in. It's like, what the hell? There's probably little, if any, oxygen. Um, and what is left, what was sustaining you while you were asleep, because you were taking such shallow, very, very few breaths, that oxygen sustains you, and then you wake up and you require more oxygen because you're alert, you're conscious. So therefore you require more oxygen, and then you start scratching to try to get out, and inevitably, you just succumb to asphyxiation. Not to mention you're disoriented. You'd have to be. This is one thing that I'm not. When you go in the service, whether it be I think the Army is probably the only ones that don't do this. Air Force does. Your Marines do. They'll flip you around and turn you. Man, the Air Force, it may be in a flight simulator to see how well you can come back to erect yourself and be on a. I think you know what I'm trying to say. When you're diving, especially rescue people, when you're diving and you're in just a sea of black, you've got to be able to determine which way's up, which usually you can go by your air bubbles. That's common sense, but what have you. So what I would think is you spit. Same as if you're caught in an avalanche and you're trying to dig yourself out of that. You'd be absolutely surprised how heavy that snow gets and how packed it gets in very, very little time. Space around you, right? If you were have snow, an avalanche around you, then you clear you. That's how you tell which direction's up or down, or get your bearings. If you're you may even be laying on your side. If you spit, that spit's going to go down your face, right? Or you're going to feel it flop to the right, to this side of you, what's it going to tell you? That you're laying on your right side. And if you're laying there, then probably this way's up, right? Okay, that's how you would get to know which way you're at. So you'd spit if you're laying flat on your back and you spit straight up, it's going to come right back down. Use gravity as your friend. It's already your friend, but in this case, it could save your life. So you'll know which way to dig. If you're caught in an avalanche and you can actually per se dig yourself out, maybe depending on how far down you're buried. If you don't do that test first, say you could be laying on your stomach and you're digging this way. Well, you can dig till the ends of the earth. You're not going to get anywhere because you're not digging up and out. You see what I'm saying? So people were trying to get out of them coffins. They were trying to scratch their way out. And so people seen this, and so then they came up with a graveyard shift. Yeah. I've already done this video, but that's where your bells came in. So if someone woke up, they could ding that bell. In the graveyard shift, that was their job, to listen for those bells. Yeah. That's scary. We used to bury people alive. Oh, yeah. And the ones coming back to life, they were never dead to begin with. Truly dead. Now the heart stopped beating. Even with mine, my brain activity didn't ever stop, as far as I know, but my heart was definitely not beating, and it just went from there. I had some really good people around me that saved my life, literally. So, but too, the human body is just an absolute wonder. It's so fragile, but yet so strong. It really is. It's definitely made for this. It's made for all this. But anyway, I guess I better go. I am going to do that video, and I will try really hard to go back and get the link to that documentary, because I promise you guys I wouldn't share it unless I felt she was, if she's not the real thing, I don't know what would be, to be honest, because just her demeanor, just her, you'll be able to see it for yourself. She's wonderful. And she talks about things that there's no way she could just make up. And and you'll see what I mean about everything, these pieces start flying around you. It's like, okay, I'm giving you the pieces. Can you put them together? It's really interesting. But I will go and I'm going to get that link and I'll put it in the comment section below, because that's the only way I really know how to do it, or I think I can figure out how to do it. If not, I promise I will get it done some other way, somehow. Those of you on my Facebook that are friends on my Facebook, I've already posted it on there because I know how to do it that way. So should be the same way to post it in my comments. Anyway, I will talk to you another time, and we'll come back and talk about this Anunnaki and the reptilians and all the other species. Okay? Have a good day. Bye-bye.